Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 12, I think, of the CB750 Build project, Project Loki. So, on this one, you can see behind me, got the engine on the table still. Originally, I was going to flip her over and crack the bottom end off and start there. I don't think I'm going to do that because I've been curious since I got this thing what's up in here and if any engine work has been done. So I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack the top off, take a look, see what we got, and yeah, that'll also help me tell if the valves have a bend or something and if that's what caused the issue. So, without further ado, off with her head. Okay, welcome back. So, I think before I actually start ripping the head off completely, instead I want to get this off as well. Turn this so you can see it. I'm going to get this all off, so starter clutch, the whole thing, just to get it out of the way. That way I can get on and do other stuff. So, let's get to that first. So, I don't know if you can actually hear this on camera or not, but that sounds like piston hitting something, which makes me concerned that it might have actually bent one of those valves. So, might be good that I'm taking this off after all. Back to it. Really quick, it shouldn't surprise me that it needs this. So, the shaft that this sits on in here is tapered. So, it's cone shaped, so it kind of comes out at an angle like this. So, probably when I torque this on, this guy got stuck on there. I should look at the manual, but I'm going to wing some stuff. But let's get this thing off of there that way. Pause. I need to go get a 3-prong puller because these 2-prong ones are not super useful. Alright, so since this is giving me problems, I'm going to need to get a 3-gear puller. So, garage gods, please give me the tools to continue the work. Nice. Alright. So, these zip ties I'm going to use to hold this starter gear onto this assembly right here. Because if I don't, the two of these will separate and there's a bunch of cylinder bearings that basically make it so that this will turn the one way but not turn the other way. So I don't want those to come off, so I'm going to zip tie this gear to this little doodad so that they're one piece when I pull them off. Okay, I didn't get it on camera, but you'll see that this is now off. It was giving me a ton of headache, so I basically just torqued it on a little bit more and then softly tapped at it with a little dead blow hammer, and now it came off. So this guy, yeah. So that tapered edge is quite on there. Or at least it keeps it on there pretty good. So, there we go. There's a little nick. But yeah, there's that tapered edge I was talking about. Let me get a zoom in on that. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about with back in here. On the back of this, there's some cylinder bearings that are in here, and these screws hold them in place, and that's what lets this thing spin independent of this, when it needs to. So, that's there. All right, let me set this over here. Also, hadn't mentioned it yet, if you get a chance, pick up one of these though. They are super, super handy, and they have like everything. They've got diagrams of everything, they got pictures, they got torque specs, the whole 9 yards. So, super handy to have. Always get the manual, always. So, let's keep going getting this sucker apart. Next, heads. Okay, so here's where we're at on the engine. I finally got a bunch of camera stuff set up, so I'm going to have a better view of this when I'm actually working on it, so I can kind of show you what I'm doing. So, first thing I want to do is I want to start loosening up all of this stuff. So, just out of frame here, I've got my manual down there that's going to help me pick out the right stuff and know when to take what out and how. So, let's get going. So, this is interesting. I don't know how much this is actually going to matter or not, but you'll notice this little guy, he comes all the way out. He eventually comes all the way out, but he has some grime in there. I don't know if you can see that. So he's got some burring on there. I'm hoping it didn't get over torqued or something like that. That could be potentially pretty bad. This guy has the same issue. He won't come out at all. I'll have to look at him from underneath. And then this guy is super, super stuck. He's out of the base, but he's just really, really stuck. So, we'll see. Back at it. Out. Here's why. Awesome Louisiana thunderstorms. Yay! Hopefully I still keep my light. So we'll see if this actually matters or not, but this is what that first one looks like. So it is just nasty. I don't know if I mean, it's shiny, which makes me nervous. So I might need to replace this, we'll see. Or it might just be friggin' dirty. I'm not really sure. You can see it from here as well. That one came off of this guy, off of the number one, well, on the side of the number one cylinder. So, we'll see. It's kind of gross though. Okay, so some of you might have cringed earlier when you saw me about to whack the snot out of something with a hammer. I figured out something before I damaged anything because I was tapping things lightly to see if they moved. So, in order to get these, what's the actual term? Rocker arm shafts. In order to get these rocker arm shafts out, you have to remove these little bolts, and then this little rod that goes in between here, right here, will slide out, away from the center of the bike. So, pull screw, out it comes. I'm going to start on this side though, so I can keep track of where all my stuff is. Alright, there's one out. So you can see here, that little notch, that is what this screw slides through up here. So, notch, screw, like that, and that's how that goes. Alright. And now I'm going to very carefully label everything. Everything. Okay, there's a very real chance that there's going to be a lot of video of me doing nothing. So the issue that I'm having right now is there are two screws that you won't be able to see. Okay, there are two screws. It's this guy, or I'm sorry, bolts. There's this one right here, and then there's one right down there opposite that. So those suckers are, well, this one's partially rounded off, which is why I couldn't get a grip on it earlier. And then that's where they look, or how they look on the back. So I got to get those two out before I can get the cam out, because that piece, excuse me, that piece disconnects from the actual camshaft. So I need to get that off so that this camshaft can actually come out of here, which will let these guys come out and the rest of the top end come apart. So until I get that, I'm pretty much at a standstill. And rather than sitting here waiting for me to either freak out, or I've got a sneaky suspicion looking at things that I'm going to need to buy a new cam anyway, which kind of sucks. So if you look at the actual pieces, so this one's okay. It does have some scoring though on the end that you can kind of see. But then as we go further across, that one's okay. This one's okay. This one's okay. This one looks, I think, okay. And then you have this guy. This one here on this end looks just awful. So those are actually, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but like those are actual ridges on the thing. So the problem is I don't know if I can fix that, if it'll be okay. I kind of feel like the answer is probably no, and that it needs to come apart and be replaced. I will have to go and price those because I don't have a ton of money for that. But since the engine's coming apart anyway, better now than later when it's all in the chopper anyway. So yeah, I'm going to fiddle with that and see where I'm at. If I actually get it to come loose, I will probably turn the camera back on. But until then, we're on pause. Okay, so had a chance to think about it, and I have not come up with better solutions. So that nut, I can't reach it with anything. I've tried wrenches, but it's like way down in here in the case. So here. This, I think you can tell, is the problem child. That guy right there. So I can't reach him with anything, and even when I try and reach him, so this looks good. Looks like it'll make contact. Great. Except this is tapered on this side. So anytime I try and turn it, what it does is it pulls, see how it pulls the wrench away? There you go. So on this side, when I try and do that, it does basically the same thing. There we go. But I just don't have any way to get a good grip on that thing. So I'm going to try one last time, and if it rounds off, well, I have another solution. The other solution is actually right here. So, looking at the chain, this is the cam chain. Chain. Now, if you'll see right here, these little guys. So this, I got very lucky that this is where it is. This is a master link for the cam chain. So, for like 13 bucks, you can buy a new one of these. So what I'm going to do, if that bolt doesn't work this time, is I'm going to go and I'm going to get my cutoff or my flap disc, and I'm going to grind off the tips of these little guys so that I can actually get this cam chain off the bike. Once I do that, I think that'll make it a lot easier to get everything else done, because I'm tired of waiting on stuff. I'm tired of not making progress. So it's time to make some more progress. So let's go with time lapse while I break everything. Just like that, I partially solved my problem. So there's part of the master link. It's actually a good thing to know, because now, in the future, if I ever have this engine lock up again, I'll know that I can just master link it and call it good. But I'm going to grab some welding wire to get these chains out of the way so they don't like straight fall into the engine case, because I don't want to do it. With that, let me rearrange some things real quick. Be right back. Alright, we're back after a quick tool cleanup thing. So, my GoPro battery is about to die and I'll have to switch it out here in a minute, but I wanted to get this cam out real quick. So, I chained up both ends with some, or I guess tied up both ends with some welding wire, and now this is from when I had the little die grinder. I was trying to keep all the dust and particulates from the actual chain out of the engine. That seems to have worked somewhat. It's trying to escape now, but there we go. Okay, so stop that. Now the chain should, or the cam should just lift out. There you go, perfect. Awesome sauce. So yeah, there's your problem child right there. I'm gonna hit this guy with the Ugga on the bigger machine and see if it'll come off. But man, I feel like it shouldn't have been tightened that tight. It's okay though, I'm gonna replace these bolts anyway. So, there we go. But now that I've got that off, these guys should both come off without too much of a problem. There's one. There's two. And then those are gonna go down here. All right. So now we're up to this point. So, really quick, I'm going to Ugga this thing, swap the battery in the GoPro, and get to work on this, because there's a specific pattern that you have to follow, and that one I am going to want the GoPro just to show what it is I'm actually doing and in what order. So, pause for now. All right. And we're back after some cleanup. So, bench is good. Now we gotta go through and do all these bolts. And there is an order for them, but it's a little wonky. So, let me walk through it real quick. So, if you don't have the manual, I'm going to put something up on screen here-ish that kind of shows what number goes where, or which ones you're supposed to be doing. But it's gonna be fun. Plus that storm is getting even gooder outside, so we'll see. The other thing I forgot to mention, so there's these little plugs that need to come out. Come on. And they're little gaskets that need to come out. Come on, man, they're in there. Let me get something to pry them out of there. But they need to come out because there's bolts underneath a bunch of them. I don't think there are bolts under, these ones don't have bolts under them. These outer ones. Ooh, nasty. These middle ones don't have bolts under them, but the other 4 do. There's also supposed to be some dowels as well. I'm gonna look real quick and make sure none of them came out in the lifters, but if they did, I'm gonna put them back because I want them to stay with this piece. Okay, so I'm not gonna be able to show this because it's way down in there, but I'll show it once I get them out. These 2 right here, which are the first 2 that I need to remove, number 20 and number 19. Both of these 2 bolts are different. They are different from the top ones, and they are different from each other. So that's awesome. The one on this side looks like is a 10mm. Yeah, and then that one's not. I don't know. So, hang on. Let me get these things out and see.